you need to leave something for the imagination. No, but no, we not. That's too little imagination.
I think I might be able to remove my window and it'll still work for you. Let's see. Now I'm gonna go back.
Oh, I know, baby, but I can't go to bed yet.
Like,
Come here.
just watch.
Awesome.
Me and Gail will absolutely
Yeah.
go full WWE on this monster.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So this whole stream, first off, I want to say hi, Bane and Grant. If you're both still here, thank you. Your comments today, like, really moved the plot forward. And in particular, I liked the reference to Choose Your Own Adventure books, because I really do try very hard to let them make whatever choices they want and roll with those choices and come up with shit I did not expect to play Jarlaxle today. I did not expect that at all. Most of what you saw today was more or less completely improv, because I was terrified coming into this session that I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. So I'm glad it went off well. There was a lot in this game.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
A lot
try to
happened.
like
Holy
For a
shit.
game that had no fighting whatsoever.
and that's an
This-
achievement.
This was
Ding.
completely jam-packed.
Well, keep in
with
mind,
stuff.
like, all combat is like so much activity surrounding like 15 seconds of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with the tournament coming up, we're going to have plenty of combat.
Yes. I've mentioned it before, but I almost always feature a tournament arc in any of my games. In fact, I often start the campaign with them. I often do, instead of meeting in a tavern, your first encounter is in an arena and you get to justify why you're there. I'm glad that we came back around.
This is not a bracketed
Right
tournament. This is
Yeah.
not a bracketed tournament. This is just going to be like 3 successive combat encounters with
Yes.
short rests in between. So
In fact, you're probably going to get a long rest between maybe the first and second one, and then you'll get like
so we have to like defend our title in the ring.
essentially you get the 2 in a row, and then you're probably going to have to really fast face the third one. That's a little bit of a behind the curtain, but I have not made those encounters yet, so I'm glad that we ended where we did. So normally I would ask what you all had fun with, but there's so much that happened that let's I'm just gonna let folks talk at this point. Who wants to start us off with some discussion about today? Gail, you are absolutely looking very enthusiastic. What do you got?
So Jen, you don't have to actually tell me if you want to keep it close to the chest, but I'm curious how much of Kreetha's answers to Echo were true or not.
Really quick.
It is actually being very truthful.
Really quick, Navy Neo has redeemed Eat Hot Chip. I do have them. I will be right back. You all keep talking. I'll be right back.
Hold on a second. I have Takis in arm's reach.
I have sunflower seeds. Does that work? They're not hot, but they're salty. Hey. But yeah, like, how much of
She
that?
was being pretty truthful. For one, the sheer amount of, obviousness that your tribe of goblins and my tribe of goblins have nothing in common for the most part. It's kind of it's kind of mind-blowing to her, but at the same time, it's also kind of like she can treat you as like a not goblin, if that makes sense. Like not one of her goblins.
He's so far removed.
Yeah. And
we did get some interesting world building about Kreetha's tribe, though.
Yes.
Because like you mentioned how like the current chief, your father, is not a native to your tribe.
No, he's a native to the tribe. Everybody is descended from the people who left Chult.
But like you imply that
he's not a good man.
Yeah, no,
and it's
but
kind of a rough.
Yeah. Okay, so you meant like
situation.
Okay, yeah, the inference I got was that he was different. Like the idea that I got the inference that he was from a different tribe, but he is just a totally different mentality from the rest of the tribe.
Or is it that he himself never saw Chult?
I'm gonna
And
pause. I'm
they
gonna pause
are
this really
removed
quick.
from Chult. So basically, they have almost a mythical telling of Chult. It is both warning and history and their religion.
Right, so it's all like they have their religion, but it's like this. It's an outsider would see obvious connections between the two, but the people in your tribe would say, no, we are not like the people from Chult, and the Chultans would look at your group like, no, they're nothing like us.
Yeah, they both venerate and denigrate their relationship to Chult. It is the fate of their ancestors, but now they have changed that fate. And Kretha is very young. I get the feeling that not actually being raised as a member of the royal court, since she is a bastard child and was raised by her mother, who was not a member of the court, just somebody that was taken by the king, as is his right. So she did not grow up with the kind of intrigue. You know, she kind of grew into it sideways. And
the implication I got from your explanation was that you were sent on that expedition to die.
I was sent on that expedition in hopes that I would bring back different information he did not expect the others to survive now.
Question of Jen.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to have to interrupt in a second. But question of Jen. Goblins are known to be clerics now and then. Are there any creatures that are keeping in touch with you via sending? Is there anyone who is high enough level that is keeping touch with Kretha via the sending spell? You are on the same plane of existence.
Is
anyone checking in with you?
I don't know.
Excellent. That's the thing to think about.
Put it that way. Kretha, think about her. She may not even realize that is a thing that could happen.
That's fair.
It's very likely that there could be some long distance spying happening. I mean, it obviously happened, in our case, through.
Yeah.
We keep giving the implication that Kretha's tribe are like backwood hicks in terms of.
When in
they're
reality,
really
it's
more sophisticated than that, and that's the thing is they have come across from Chult, so they have tried to. I don't want to call it aping their betters, but they have had time to take the culture of the South that's around them into themselves, as well as the culture from Chult.
So Creole is actually a really good analogy.
It's actually a fantastic analogy. Yes.
Yeah, coming from like just a synthesis of a cultured society with one that has been historically very removed from society.
Yes. Witch doctors and all. Yes.
So, couple of things really quick. Thing number one, for me, this is a thing that I announce when it gets caught up. Today's hot chip is Limon Flamin' Doritos. And also, Navy Neo complimented Jeff's hair, so I had to release the mane as well, because I was jealous.
I do have a very fine mane.
Your hair is absolutely killer. Absolutely killer.
I know all the men in my life have better hair than
when I went to Phoenix, I had the pleasure of playing a few board games down there, and one of the people that my cousin's friends were like, can I pet your hair? And I said, sure. And then, what do you do for it? Nothing. I shower and
that's exactly what they all say.
It's
Grant, I'm jealous of your beard, though. Grant, cutting class, has a very, very full and dignified beard, as Data would say, and I'm jealous of that because I can't grow out facial hair like that. So
yeah, I like the suggestion of Echo growing out like a goatee. Like he would have needed to use like the attuning to the Durgadin thing to like get the dwarven beard.
Yes.
Like Echo can't actually grow a beard.
I that's why I would really want like someone like to let Echo attune to the bearded dragon and just to get the facial hair.
One last thing, by the way, because we do have some new viewers. Wow, we're in the double digits right now.
Wow.
So if you have any questions to us as players that are over there, or GM, or just as people, if there's any comments you want to make about the previous session, if there's anything you want us to talk about our characters, or the session, or the lore, or the anything, the story, whatever you want, just go ahead and put those questions into chat, and we will address them kind of as we can.
Happily.
No, Navy Neo, absolutely not. I am not a math teacher right now. I'm not doing linear regression. We can talk about least squares later. Right now, I'm a DM. God damn it.
So the line is going in one
I'm
direction.
even wearing a university shirt. God damn it, Cunningham. Okay, so somebody save me.
I have a question for Calder.
Oh?
So, we didn't actually get to it this session, but as a role player thinking about the conversation happening in the future, what, like, do you have an idea of, like, what Calder's response to the, if you had to put a monetary value on someone dying, like that whole conversation, like, do you know, like, if Calder would get really pissed, or if he...
Calder would get really quiet, because he would take the question at face value and would actually meditate on it a bit. He would give you, and he would probably say something like, I would give two answers. One is what my father would say, and one that I think is better. And would explain both. And I'm sure his father actually has like this elaborate internal mathematics for like what is the value of life and how to properly reward versus versus
your father said
so
green things are a real treat. They make long ears and great big feet. Sorry, that was a Bambi reference for those of you who are younger than I am.
That's why I gave you this. I forget Bambi getting mentioned up in here, but
yeah, I mean, because they're like in this world, there's miners, there's dangerous jobs where you probably do have a set standard compensation to the family if someone dies in the line of duty. Like that's a normal part of the world, unfortunately.
Like the way I've depicted the Calder's family is they are like they love the image of being magnanimous. So they would say. Like he would like outwardly they would absolutely reward people who die in their service and would reward the families, but that reward would be extraordinarily defined. Like they would be given a strict monetary amount, or they would be allowed to live in a village closer to the manor, so that as a literal elevation of them of the people, but like all within like it's all performative. It is all listen. Now you can be a servant closer to the manor.
Yeah, it's all what they're usually industries versus like what county you're living in, what shire, whatever would have different standards and practices about how do you deal with death on the job.
But meanwhile, Calder is much less lofty, so his answer would probably be something closer to.
Why did you bite me, cat?
It depends entirely on how much. It depends entirely on how much you value that person's life.
Why did you bite me?
Jen,
how much would you be willing to pay to see them again?
No
Jen,
biting.
You are quite literally, Jen, the toad asking the scorpion why it stung them.
She's mad because I didn't go to bed.
Because it's her nature.
She wants to go to bed, and she's starting to turn into my other cat, where they start getting mad that we don't go to bed, and it's something new behavior out of her. So it's kind of weirding me out a little bit because I'm like reaching down, and she's like.
I did love her expression when you were holding her there. Her eyes were very wide.
Yeah, she's not a fan of it.
Her eyes were very wide and alert, like going hello.
Yes.
I love how DD Vampire Lady is saying not bite. Jeff,
I have a question.
It's the same spot too.
I actually have a question for Calder as well. What are you expecting from this hunting engagement that you have sometime in the immediate, but not immediate, but medium future? What do you expect from this?
I could see it going one of two ways, because I imagine Mr. Ashcroft is going to go run to Daddy because that's what they do.
I love how we're all calling him Ashcroft now.
Like, I have a feeling that's been his nickname for a very, very long time. Meanwhile, but I like the idea that he is Ashcroft, but his dad is Mr. Ashcroft, or his mother is Lady Ashcroft. Like, that is a person that is actually worthy of respect and fear, and that we have that comparison. And like, so I could see like the hunt going one of two ways. One, the hunt is for like a very boring, mundane, or even like slightly magical. Like, let's go hunt dire boar in the woods, and like, or let's hunt normal boar on foot with spears. Let's do a thing. And then he absolutely tries to kill me in the woods.
Ooh.
We'll see how that goes. Or if we want to like double down on the fucked up nature of magical races and the power of the rich, like the hunt when he releases the prey, it's straight up hunting goblins.
So
What?
I
don't think
and if it goes that way, if it goes that way, then the answer is 100. And then it goes, a dozen nobles were killed horrifically on the hillside.
So
I don't think we're gonna the most dangerous game this, right?
It
depends entirely on how established and solid the rights of goblins are in this world. So.
Oh my
Well,
god! And like,
Waterdeep's actually one of the better places for that, right?
The
we're not like
crossed.
say. So,
I'm not gonna lie, the thought crossed, but no, we're not gonna be doing goblin hunting or any known sapient hunting. That's
like Then I and Calder are fully expecting the hunt to like he is going to be he'll quietly have me isolated and then like get me jumped, or will do the jumping himself. Is waiting nearby to pontificate and monologue before my death.
Yeah, I modeled Ashcroft a little bit because I've had JoJo on the mind lately, and like the way that he would probably take you on is in a way where he could monologue at you about how he found your specific weakness and about how you're about to die until you're able to exploit one of his weaknesses and turn around and come back, right? That's every JoJo episode ever known to man. And I see something like that maybe happening, or maybe he's a really good guy who just got in with the wrong crowd. Maybe cancel culture is the real criminal here.
I have my Calder's answer to cancel culture is apparently acid ball. So
yes, Navy. I'm making old and actually fairly recent anime reference.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yep.
JoJo's is
so long
good.
As you don't mind.
Very weird, but very good.
So long as you don't mind, like, time slowing to a standstill so that people can explain everything they're doing in the 1 second that they're doing it, it's a wonderful story. And also
anime.
Incredible body horror. Like, incredible violence and body horror. Yeah, it's really bad.
The dog guys.
Also, it has, like, very, how shall I put this? Imaginative interpretations of what a 17-year-old's physique looks like.
But that's also anime.
That's also very
anime.
anime.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a question for the DM.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you mean Barnabas has only been king for a few years?
I
thought he was this like experienced ruler who occasionally fucks off to go adventuring. He's new at this?
I need to go back to the footage. But I'm pretty sure that at some point during the Sunless Citadel, I revealed that he had been the king for less than several decades, at the very least. Remember, this is a dwarf. He lives on dwarven timelines. But I always intended him to be someone who came to power relatively recently. And I think I seeded that earlier. But we've got like 50 hours of footage that I would have to go back through to find out if we really did. But I think that I said that the reason he went out to be an adventurer with you in the Sunless Citadel is because he was chafing at the new responsibilities of being a king and decided to fuck off into a dungeon for a while like the old days.
So he took a job as a bodyguard to some rich brats. And
exactly.
Went very differently.
I'm loving this. It's reframing his characterization in my mind of like,
the other thing we established is that the Boulder Shoulders are as a clan are they're essentially like an elevated minor house.
Yeah.
They're relatively new to their station.
But they existed back in Durgadin's time. He
Yeah.
knew of Boulder Shoulder.
Yeah, but he knew
Yes.
them as minor functionaries. So.
Within his own clan, yes.
But
He
he- but the
specifically
clan
said something
the
like they
claim.
split off and became something great.
Yeah,
And
but
he
they
was
have
happy
an
about that.
ancestral claim to the forge.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
So like, but man, just knowing. Oh man, now the previous thing from last about Echo being like, wait, relatively, I'm the oldest because he's middle aged for a goblin.
Yeah.
And then Barnabas asking him for advice, and Echo's like, holy shit, you don't know what you're doing.
Oh wait, no, I'm the cradle robber. Damn it!
Just like recontextualizing him as like not
So
as
good.
old and like experienced as you would think he is.
And I did that with Echo specifically because in certain headcanons, the two of them have been becoming fairly close. And like it's the kind of thing that a king wouldn't show to your average person, right? It's not the kind of thing that a king would show to these mercenaries that he worked with for a while, although he's starting to see them more than that. But with Echo, like you're a trusted advisor at this point. He's asking your advice because good rulers don't ignore the advice of the people that are really closest to them.
I would actually point out Echo's never worked for him or been
True.
a part of the because he joined the original
Echo
group
is there
and
purely by
found him,
choice. I mean,
and then
I imagine
Pointy.
that Barnabas originally acted as a patron to the tumbling / circus performing group to bring you to the Citadel in the first place. But like, it's not the same thing.
No. Echo, the reason
back
Echo was
home.
in the neighborhood was because it was the 10-year anniversary of his father's death, and he was doing like a pilgrimage to kind of like find closure, and he found a lot of closure.
I meant in the epilogue after the fact.
Ah, okay.
Jeff, you were saying?
My thinking was for
Damn it, Dee Dee.
like just looking at Calder's perspective, from looking at Durgan's Boulder Shoulder's perspective. Like this is, yeah, he's he's been king for less than a few decades. He's like what, barely 300.
I said early 3 digits, so he's like 120 or something.
So he's like 100, so he's like a little. So if he's like not even 200 yet, that means he's a baby compared to a lot of the other dwarven kings.
I have to say, I love the arc Barnabas has had in your perceptions, right? First, he was just a random like minion. Then he was a fucking king, and now
Oh no, sir. You're missing an important step. He was a minion and then a damsel in distress.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes.
I may or may not have fridged him at one point.
You didn't fridge him. You allowed us to save him.
I allowed you to save him, yes, but I fridged
That's
him for
damseling.
most of the area.
Fridging requires death. That is the point.
Oh,
That's
that's true. That's true.
And then he was a king.
I imagine, Dee Dee Vampire Lady, that a lot of new art is probably going to come out of this particular session. And I very strongly recommend that if you have art, great chance for a plug. If you have art, tag me on Twitter at MathDemigod. I will make sure that it ends up in that montage that we play before and in the middle of every game. Dee Dee Vampire Lady, you've already got a piece within that montage. And we will absolutely include any fan art that comes in. We already have some amazing artists, as Jeff could show you, though his background is kind of messing it up a little bit. But we've got amazing artists, and we want you to help give us some art too.
I actually do have the most recent fan art DD Vampire Lady made, and this is.
Oh, it's so good!
It's embroidery.
Oh, it's so good!
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I love it so much.
That's
yes,
gorgeous.
she did show that at one point, but I forgot, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
It hangs right here, so I can see Echo. Get into the focus.
I love it so much. So let's talk to Jen a little bit.
Yeah.
because we hit some unexpectedly. Again, I tend to, I don't know if you've noticed this about me, but I tend to take the threads that you leave out and I try to run with them. And it felt like with you and with this hobgoblin, we're hitting a really strong colonizer vibe, like a really strong, like, you're seeing a slave catcher, right? That's what you saw in the hobgoblin.
Yes,
and
it very much feels like,
that was rough. Like I wasn't sure how that scene was gonna go. What did you think? How did you react to that? I know it was rough.
I definitely like it made my skin crawl. As it, as it made, Kreetha's skin crawl.
Fun fact, and this is true, I do some voice work for a couple of like Fallout themed podcasts, and so far twice now I've been asked to play a character who is either attempted or successful sexual assaulter. So I've had to cultivate, and I don't want to get typecast for that. I do not want to get typecast for that, but I had to cultivate that, like, we could be friends, kind of.
The funny thing is that because you had asked us before we started to think of a scene, and you had given us specific scenes.
Yeah.
And my first written down scene, I had actually nixed because I'm like, oh, isn't this one of the things we're not supposed to talk about? Which was like starving and abused children, and like have wandered into one of the bad wards and maybe like saw like one killed in front of her or something. So I'm like, I'm gonna dial that back a little bit.
Yeah. And that would have been had that not been a hard no for a couple of our players, that would have been like a realistic thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
not everybody lives a happy life.
No.
It would have been an interesting comparison because the slums in Waterdeep are not that different from a like overarching perspective than what Kreetha grew up in. It's very much survival of the fittest. It's very much die young. It's very much like, it's not quite the same because you're not going to get eaten by a zombie dinosaur in Waterdeep unless a magical experience or a magical experiment goes very wrong.
Oh, sir, keep in mind, they have perfectly living carnivorous dinosaurs in Chult as well.
Also true.
Yeah.
There's just as many not as obviously carnivorous dangers in the big city.
Yeah.
And I liked seeing Kreetha experience that, and also kind of like, because Echoes from the other big city along the coast, Neverwinter, and like I was saying, like how he was pretending to be vulnerable was like he had a circus family who taught him, like, you don't go to these parts of the city, you don't go alone to this sort of thing. Like, like being circus folk, they're kind of on the outs of civilized society anyway. They're the freaks, the people who band together to make a community and survive. And so I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see that Kreetha does and doesn't have that with this group.
Yeah. And I just felt like Kreetha got a lot of like really interesting scenes that I wasn't planning on, but
same,
because I definitely liked the conversation with Boulder Shoulder.
That was a really good one. That I was not expecting that either. That was totally spontaneous, and I really appreciated that. I like how, even though, because you're still holding Durgadon, yeah? So Boulder Shoulder is unconsciously treating you like a dwarf. And like to the point where he's like, are you sure? But it was, now when he said, are you sure you're not a dwarf? That was not a response to the fact that you carry Durgadon's blade. That was not the fact that you do indeed have a belt of dwarven kind, which means that dwarves are more likely to treat you with respect. No, he was responding to your words, because what you said about how difficult it was, about how nobody ever leaves where they were born, and all of that, it's the same with a lot of the deep dwarves in the mountains, just on a longer time scale, as opposed to a couple of dozen years in the same spot, laboring for what might not be any real advantage. They've got hundreds of years in the same spot, laboring for what may or may not give them a real advantage in the end. So like it was a really great sort of juxtaposition of goblin and dwarf, and that's becoming a big theme in this campaign, and I'm really loving it.
It is. And you know, I'm continuing to explore the fact that Kreitha is learning. I get the feeling Kreitha never really fit in very well with where she started from. And I think that just all of the stuff that has been happening, opening her eyes up, having that continue it's nice to have, that kind of character growth.
What I'd like to do now, we've got, however much time we have. I think at this point, I'm going to go to each of the three of you, and we're going to pick your favorite scene, as usual, and pick another player character that you would like to give a special shout out to for a particular piece of role play or a particular role or a particular bit of insight that happened during the course of the day. Let's see. I did 1, 2. Okay, so we're going to start with Gail this time. Gail, what is a scene that you particularly were having fun with, and what is a player character that you would like to give a shout out to?
I had a lot of fun with the serious, not so serious conversation with Barnabas of how it meandered from the how do bags of holding work to how do you be a good king to what kind of outfit Echo would like to see him in. Like, it was just, I know Barnabas it takes a bit of a backseat in most of the role play because he's an NPC, but he's also like kind of the sticking plot point of why we're here and why we're doing this all together. So I enjoyed getting to play Echo opposite him in that scene, so that was fun.
That's one of the reasons why I had you and Barnabas in that scene, because he's such a pivotal part of this whole plot that I felt like the viewers, were, should get a chance to get to know him a little bit better. And also, because I don't get to play in D&D campaigns very often, it was nice to play a character of my own creation for a little bit. But also, like, I love the dynamic that you've got with Barnabas. And I like that it allows me to give him a little bit of character development. Like, he's a dwarf, he's stony, he's solemn, he's stern, but around people he really trusts, he's willing to talk about the things that really bother him, and I thought that was a great scene between the two of you.
And I want to shout out Jen's wonderful response to a griffin suddenly being behind Kreitha of the "Don't hit me!" and how that just completely threw the griffin and his rider off. Like, wait, what? Normally people are like, I wasn't doing shit, don't bother me, man, but it's don't hit me. Who is this?
We also found the one good cop in Waterdeep, so.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Or at least easily confused cop. Yes, that was another completely, like, off-the-cuff, totally improvised thing. I figured that in a place that has aerial flybys, a frog pulling up roof tiles as they jump from roof to roof would probably be something like two of them look at each other and they're like, do you want to take this one? I would. All right. 1, 2, 3. Damn it. All right. I'll go get this one.
And the thing is I was already thinking before that happened about the fact that I had to have been making noise.
Yes.
Because frogs, like, he wouldn't be walking across. He would be walking across part of the roof, but for the most part, he'd be hopping. And frogs aren't that graceful. And a medium-sized creature frog, a blob-tastic frog, it's gonna make a sound, and like shingles are gonna rattle, and like
people are calling the guard going, there's something on my roof.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to get it to show up. I'm very proud of it. Damn it.
Kreitha?
We'll include it next week or next time. because your
The being in
background
the
is
role.
eating it. But we will scan it or take a picture of it. We will include
Yeah,
it.
we'll get I'll send a picture in for the art.
Absolutely. Jen, what is something that you had fun with, and what is a player character that you want to give a shout out to?
I really had a blast this entire go. I did have lots of fun going undercover with Echo. Even though I wasn't like saying anything, I got to cringe and
All of that was also improv because I had no idea you were going to go that way when we came into this game. I had to like, holy shit, they're doing what?
Well, and I had mentioned when we were talking about it out of game that I was not interested as a player playing in it because I just don't like tournament arcs.
Totally.
And like I don't have a problem with there being. I think that this is the best of both worlds. I do love the fact that I get to be Kreitha Bond while this is happening,
I
and
agree.
that Stinky is still kind of part of that. So I definitely I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
The downside, okay, so Kreitha has a fair amount of stealth, but not a whole lot of like sleight of hand, and her deception rolls definitely are entirely impingent on whether she rolls high or not because she doesn't really have much of a bonus. She's not very charismatic on my sheet, so.
What is her charisma?
Oh God, a 10, I think.
That's not bad. That's average.
It's a straight roll.
No, her charisma's an 8.
Oh, so it's not a straight roll.
This is a 10. She has a strength 8.
That's right.
And a
You rolled a 1
8.
and got a 0.
I did.
That's right. That happened.
That happened. Yeah.
Jeff, what is a scene you particularly enjoyed, and what is a player character you would like to give a shout out to?
I always love doing an anti-racism, and like I love perpetuating this theme I have with Calder, which I've enjoying is that he is the secret saint among a sea of bastards, and like because he desperately is. Because that's the thing is Calder is a better person than his peers, but Calder does not believe that. So
and he is, and he proved it here. Like I really liked you specifically requested a scene where someone disparaged your goblin companions so that you could defend them, and I thought you handled that really well. I tried to be kind of dog whistly about it rather than straight up saying, "Hey, you have not humans like." Not people in your party.
It was pure self-indulgence, and of course it was fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I thought you did a great job. I mean, you and I have had a lot of experience role playing that high society kind of thing, right? Yeah. You and I have spent years role playing high society player characters together.
That hoity-toityness of it.
And I love like just throwing in ostentatious details like, and this is my scene that I enjoyed, a hat that is your wingspan wide on an NPC that is absolutely like one of my favorites that I've ever played. And I did not expect to play that character today, but already one of my favorites to play.
Oh yeah, he's fun.
In this one,
we've determined.
Only in this though. I know that the canonical pronouns are he and him, but in this particular module, we're gonna go ahead and break some canon here.
We reject reality and substitute our own.
That's what D&D is all about. You're absolutely right.
So, but the thing I want to shout out other people for is I loved I love the cop interaction, but like the thing I'm constantly thinking about is like the future WWE style intro that
that was
Calder and Echo deliberately like dressing themselves up as barbarians, like going hard into the ice barbarian theme just to fuck with people.
I
That's just
really
perfect.
want you guys to write up. There's actually a WWE role-playing game, and I swear to God, I'm gonna find the sheets and I'm gonna have you write up like joke things of your characters writing up a role-play sheet for these characters.
Yes.
And I need
Yes.
this in my life. It's
And we
for
do
me.
this, and we give
So-
both to Rob as like our intro is for our intro material.
Jen, you have this incredible Live from the Sunless Citadel template you've been working on, but now we've got another performance entirely. We've got another performance entirely, and I really am
I'm really
so
looking forward to
excited.
sketching this as well.
I will say, can I run to the restroom real quick?
We're about to end, but yes, go for it. I'm gonna
Okay.
give folks a chance to plug, but yeah, go for it.
I'll be right back.
Go. I did have one cute idea that's what made me like grab my mouth earlier with laughter to stop myself from laughing. I my own I want to introduce this to the party like as a silent background detail in case Rob you want to use that the good cop again.
Totally.
His name is Kyle Bonewolf.
Oh no.
Another of the Bone Wolf clan. Fair enough. This is. I asked you at the very beginning of the Sunless Citadel to give me your tropiest characters, and it is absolutely tropey to have the same, you know,
It's the same character model.
over and over
Literally
and
the
over
same-
again.
The same guard in every city.
You know, like in Pokemon, all the nurses are the
nurses
same
It's just
person.
that like Kevin Bonewolf is the guard of some podunk mining town. Kyle Bonewolf has like a job in a major
And a griffin.
city. And a griffin. Like he's prestigious.
I love it.
Why can't you be more like Kyle, Kevin?
Oh no.
And
I
like,
was just going for K names, but like the idea of like just to play into our current game's tropes of we name alike characters alliteratively, and I think that's hilarious.
thank you,
And so like
Vampire Lady.
like a hard C or K name for every member of the Bone Wolf clan.
I don't know if you picked up on this, but pretending to be sisters with Kraith's character. Now our names are the Barbarian Brothers. Like, Echo considers everyone family, and I don't know when they'll pick up on the fact when he's literally calling them brother and sister all the time. We'll see once the characters become aware of this fact.
I think it's because you did them separately that we haven't clipped to it yet. Because we're the Barbarian Brothers, you are brother and sister, or sisters apparently.
As far as Horker knew, yeah.
And so like when we get another one, and like especially with all three of us in the room, then there'll be enough connecting points to pick up the pattern. But
Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, got it. D.D. Vampire Lady, you're not a fool. You just misremembered. It happens to everybody.
I pity the fool. That was bad. I'm sorry.
So,
moving on.
before
On that cringe
and
note.
please do stick around. Stick around. We're gonna do a raid at the end of this, so don't go anywhere. And also, please do, especially if you enjoyed this particular show, we have a larger than average number of viewers here, which means some of you are probably new. Please do follow these folks on the social media that they're about to provide, because we need more eyes on this particular stream. I feel like these folks are so talented that they need more eyeballs on their roleplay. So I'm about to give them a chance to plug their pluggables. Get out a pen and paper. I'm a teacher, so I'll know if you don't. Get out a pen and paper and write down what they are about to say to you, because I want you to follow them, because they absolutely deserve it. Let's start with
That's right,
Jeff.
Greg.
He's calling you out, Psychonthrope. So,
So
Jeff,
people.
yeah, plug your things. Where can folks find you?
yeah, you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at still tired and angry. As I am tired, angry, still.
Best, especially in 2022, the absolute best handle you could come up with.
Someone asked me to explain my username in some stupid meme, and my response was, I am tired and angry, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Gail, who are you? And I believe you have a place where people can find your goblin art.
Yeah, I post art and fics, and not all of it is canon. Sometimes I get a little shippy with it, but it's all at a measure of
Little.
separation at Tumblr. It's misspelled on purpose. I just shared it in the chat.
With the fact that it's misspelled on purpose. Jen, where can folks find you, and where can they see more of that wonderful art of yours?
I'm the Swedish Geek Ball. You can find me on Facebook as Swedish Geek Ball, as in a person, because my dumbass did not realize how to make like one of those like store / like fan sites. I literally made another person as Swedish first name, Geek Ball last name. T Geek Ball at Twitter, and Swedish Geek Ball on Instagram, and you can find my art on all of that. I'm on Twitch. I stream as well. I'm mostly streaming games, but I will be starting out back up my art streams again next month on Sundays. And I have an Etsy store, which is the Winter Rose Art Shop. Actually, let me double check that.
Please do. We want to route people to the right place.
Seriously, let me double check that. My brain is melty. Because it's like my account is under the Swedish Geek Ball, but my store is Winter Rose Art Shop. Okay, cool. I got that right.
Excellent.